my first question for you is, like, you're a sophomore, you haven't been a part of USG before. What would you say to people that feel like you're not as qualified to, run for Senate?
Yeah. So I think my experience comes from a different realm, a different side of campus than most of the other candidates. I work extensively with the Environmental Student Assembly, and through them, I'm the director of community engagement. So I plan all the volunteering events and outreach to the local LA community. And so through that, I've gotten to experience LA in a different way. I'm not from LA, I'm from Central California. So this role gave me the opportunity to get to know our local community. And through that, I have students here from USC go and volunteer all together and bond. And so through that experience, I've gotten to engage with the students in a different manner. And through my other hats as well, bringing in a new organization called the Regeneration Field Institute onto campus, I've done various class visits and engagement opportunities. So I really have gotten to get to know students in a different light than USG. And so I feel like bringing that experience to USG as a bit of an outsider, I come with new ideas and a different take on what we should do through USG Senate.
Absolutely. It sounds like you're already familiar with, like, those outreach, initiatives and, really getting yourself involved with the community here at USC. A lot of students here aren't familiar with USG at all, actually, and, are really don't really know what resources that USG has to offer. What would you do to kind of reach those students and kind of introduce them to USG?
The biggest thing, our biggest asset are RSOs, I feel. There's so many RSOs on campus focusing on various different niches, and a lot of them just aren't in touch with USG. I've been working this campaign to try to reach out a little bit to some of these other RSOs that don't interact as much. And so I reached out to the Theater Student Assembly, TSA, through the School of Dramatic Arts. I reached out to the Association of Energy Engineers and trying to reach those different areas that don't interact with USG as much. So through Viterbi, the arts, because USG can be dominated at times through political science, Dornsife, and Gould and Price. And so reaching out to those different communities is super important to bring out. And so engaging with those RSOs is how we bring the most engagement from those who typically don't.
Gotcha. And let's talk about more of your campaign, your platform. Two of the things that really stood out to me was one, academics, reinstating the Academic Achievement Award, and also food security, expanding EBT access, here on campus to students, things like that. So expand more on those two domains of your platform.
Yeah, definitely. So with academic achievement, this is super important for USC in general. USC is known worldwide for the well-rounded students that it produces, and that has a lot to do with the interdisciplinary learning that we have here. And so there's so many multi-talented students that we have that want to major in something artistic like theater or vocal performance, but they also want to have some more technical skills through economics or data science. And typically, you can't do both at the same time. But the Academic Achievement Award enables students to do that, and it's created the world-renowned students that we're known for. And so this system is being phased out with the freshman class already enabled to do this. And I have a great friend named Chloe. She's a dance major, BFA dance major. She's awesome. She so badly wants to also major in environmental studies so she could pursue that as well alongside her dance career. But she's not able to because she's a freshman, so she doesn't have the Academic Achievement Award. And this represents an issue of equity, really, because it puts a price tag on that multidisciplinary learning that students really yearn for. And so now only those who could pay those extra units to get this done can do that now. And so that's just not right. And so it's an issue of equity that we need to bring back for the students. Food security. 25% of students across the nation are faced with food insecurity, and USC is not exempt from that fact. And so it's paramount that we feed all of our Trojans. Food should be a basic human right. And so we have to do all we can to ensure that all students have the nutrition they need and don't face any malnutrition. And so part of that is I have a couple of different initiatives I hope to engage with to get this done. I want to donate the excess food from the dining halls after hours. We have some connections to do that to the local community that we claim to do, but it's really ensuring that happens and to expand it to students who maybe qualify for EBT or don't have a meal plan, so that they could come after hours, after their late commitments, and come get the food that they need. Secondly, EBT on campus. It's mainly an issue of paperwork that we have to do, but Seeds, ILI, all the TCC eateries, they don't accept EBT, and there's so many students on EBT that can utilize that to get the food they need while on campus. Because oftentimes students who live off campus, they have to pay for the food when they're on campus, and they spend hours of the day here, and so they just don't eat until they go home. And so improving EBT access on campus would greatly help with that. And then lastly, fruit trees on campus. This has to do with the issue of malnutrition among students. And so imagine you're in class, and then you have a class right after that, back to back, and it's a far walk, so you don't have any time to get any food. Or there's a vending machine right there, and it just has chips. And so you're like, that's not what I want. On the walk to class, you pick an apple from a tree, you pick an orange, and it increases food access and fresh food access for the students and encourages healthier habits among our student body.
Absolutely, and while these initiatives, they sound great, and I really hope this will be implemented if you were to be elected as Senate. When it comes to being a part of USG, it's also about bridging that gap between the USC administration and also student needs. So let's say you do propose this initiative to administration, but there's some pushback based off of resources or whatever, wouldn't allow them to fully give you what you want. So how would you kind of approach that situation where you're still fighting for student needs while also kind of, adhering to administration, what they have?
Yeah, definitely. So let's start with the fresh fruit access to begin with the fruit tree groves. FPM, Facilities Planning and Management, they are an extremely welcoming organization and branch of USC. They are super welcome to ideas and working with students to get things done. They're working with students extensively on the re-landscaping and to natives around campus. And so I think that working with them, we can really get a lot done on the fresh fruit side of things. Of course, there's going to be pushback, but it's really showing the administration that this is something that the students really want. That's going to entail a lot of engagement, sending out petitions, getting it signed, and really getting the students engaged in this idea to really make it happen. And so while working with the university, the university is meant to serve the students. And so if we show that the students are wanting this and they're asking for this and we have the support, we can create a good case for the administration to listen to our needs. While working with them also to create some compromises. Compromise is necessary with any initiative.
Absolutely. And is there anything that I didn't ask you here about your campaign that you kind of want to expand more on, or that you feel like you couldn't expand, previously?
Yeah. One issue I do definitely want to expand upon is sustainability. We just got our 13th president, President Kim, and so before him, though, we had President Carol Folt, and she was a staunch environmental advocate. She was an environmental scientist, marine scientist, and she came to the university and really set our moonshot to become one of the nation's leaders in sustainability. And we've done a lot in that realm. We've become one of the leaders with Assignment Earth, Green USC, and the Office of Sustainability. And all that work, amazing. We've done so much. It's important we keep on going. With the budget cuts facing the university, it's paramount that students show that sustainability is still a top of our needs, because this is a global fight that we all have to contribute. And so that's a big part of why I wanted to run for USG. I saw that we're losing our environmentalist president. Budget cuts are facing the university. I recognize that people would feel that university or sustainability was an issue that was already dealt with because of what we did under Carol Folt. But that's not the case. There's always more to do in this never-ending fight. And so keeping that pressure on the administration via student government to meet the needs for sustainability is paramount. And so that's a big part of why I'm running, to try to ensure that sustainability remains one of our top priorities.
Absolutely. And is there anything last thing that you want to say, to our viewers, to our voters, before the voting period opens on February 17th?
Yeah. Reach out to me. Follow me on @SamForSenate_. I want to hear from you, learn what you guys think we should be doing. And yeah, let's grow together to create the best university for all students.